I'm here in the most Chinese city in all of Malaysia. And right now at the biggest Buddhist temple in all of Malaysia, which is of course a Chinese Buddhist temple. Most of the Chinese residents here in Malaysia that have lived here for many generations, were born and raised here, most of them are Buddhist. Some of them are Christian, but most of the native Malays, which is the native people here, most of them are Muslim. So this is the largest Buddhist temple in all of Malaysia. It's like a whole temple complex. You have all these different buildings. Here a temple, there separate building, there's like this little tower, and it's all Chinese Malaysian stuff. Here you can see the inside of the main temple. 3 different statues. So the center one is Buddha. So here you have a wall with all Chinese writing and beautiful swastika. And the Chinese writing being common is a thing you see all over Malaysia. There's Chinese people all over Malaysia, born and raised. They've lived here for many generations. But here in this city, Georgetown, and in this region, Penang, it's the most prevalent. Here you see different depictions of Buddha, and it's all very colorful and looks very typically Chinese. Here a little side room with some different Chinese figures, and generally you're supposed to take your shoes off when you go into one of these rooms, so gotta be careful with that. I think these are all Buddhas. Yeah, like 10,000 Buddhas. That's actually kind of a common thing in Buddhism, to have a temple with 10,000 Buddhas. Here you have another Buddha at the center, and then 2 different figures besides him. I'm not sure what their names are. And then here all Buddhas around again, with swastikas on their chests. And the swastika is an important symbol in Buddhism, and it doesn't have any connotations with National Socialism. But the origin is very similar, and the meaning is also quite similar, just not its modern interpretation of it. Here you have some signs for information about parking stuff. That's like an old one. It says it in Chinese and in English, but not in Malay. Sometimes with information it will say it in Chinese and in Malay, or Chinese and English, or just Malay, or just Chinese. It depends a little bit. But a lot of the time it will be at least 2 languages. Sometimes all 3, sometimes also Sanskrit, if it's about Indian stuff. Oh, are these Malay or?
Malay.
Malay?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Interesting. And the dresses?
Some is Thailand. This one is from Thailand. Some is Malaysia.
Okay. So this is the Kek Lok Shi Charitable Hospital right in front of the temple. The temple is right over there. And then here is a hospital with the same name as the temple. It is the name of the temple and then Charitable Hospital, because the temple provides hospital care for free here, I suppose, which they provide with the money they make from donations and stuff like that. Oh, at the top it does say it in Malay, and here at the bottom in the beginning it says it in Malay, but here in the middle it's Chinese and English. Here is a little altar, and you can, I believe, buy these really big offerings, or people put them here to offer them. I'm not sure if it makes a big difference in the religion, rather you offer them in a place like this or at like the big temple here behind us. So here around you see a lot of different Chinese shops. Like here you have a little cafe, and it has some like Hokkien dish with like Hokkien in the name, which is one of the Chinese languages, a language in the south of China. A lot of people here are of Chinese descent. They speak either Hokkien, or they speak Mandarin, or they speak Cantonese, or multiple of them. Here we have, I think, some kind of restaurant. Then here we have like a shop that sells a lot of popcorn, also in Chinese and then in English. And I don't see any Malay on this display. And then here there's a Japanese restaurant. And then here's something else in Chinese. It's a Chinese restaurant. And then it says restaurant, which is the Malay word, but then the name is in English and then in Chinese. Malaysia is a very multicultural country, so you have the Chinese, and here's more Chinese stuff. This is like a little temple. You see these like Chinese lanterns, and some people will hang them at their homes. In some neighborhoods you have like these little altars, which can either be Hindu altars or Chinese altars. One easy way to recognize if a temple is, like for example, Hindu and Indian, or if it's Chinese, is looking at the colors. Like if it's very heavily red, then it's probably Chinese. So this building has kind of this shell white as base color, and then red as the accents everywhere around it. And that's very common. Here you have two lions, and then all these different lanterns. So here you have a sign from the government, and that's all in Malay, because the government is Malay, even though the actual local government here in Penang is more like Chinese. Here you see one of these little shrines. It's a Chinese shrine with Chinese writing on the sides, of course, and color red, which is very common for them to use. And then you have like incense burning inside, like offerings, and then I think some food stuff on the side. This is probably to like protect the surrounding houses or something like that. Here you see like a normal house of like someone in the area, quite a modern house, but they have like these Chinese red banners on the sides, and that's also a religious thing. Here another house, and they also have like the Chinese writing on like these red stripes next to the doorway. That's an easy way to recognize that a house is Chinese and that it has Chinese owners inside, that it's a residence of Chinese people. Sometimes even goes for like apartment buildings. Sometimes they have it at the entrance or their room store, depending on the layout or ownership and so on. Here you see a banner with Chinese writing on it, which I think is a religious thing. Over there, there's another one. That one is pink with a yellow edge around it. This one has a green edge around it. In the back, you see a lot of Malaysian flags, and even the Chinese Malaysians will often hang out Malaysian flags. So here, you see a Chinese building. I think this is a shop of some sort. You see that it's Chinese because of all the writing on it, and I think even the architecture is kind of like an old wooden building. So here it looks like a motorcycle repair shop. Chinese Malaysian owners and a Malaysian flag hanging outside. Here like some advertisement, and this girl looks Malaysian Chinese, and she has a Chinese sounding name, and it also has some Chinese writing on the advertisement. And then here there's like ads for a massage parlor, and it's also in Chinese and then in English. And here you have like some old colonial style buildings, and another Chinese Malaysian building. Not sure if this is a house because you have like an altar right in front, but I'm guessing this is just a house of someone. Kind of like old Chinese colonial architecture here in Malaysia. And you see these big red lanterns, which is very Chinese thing. Here's some kind of old Chinese workshop. So this is the Georgetown Armenian Street. And I don't know why it has that name, but it's very famous for its street art. And here's an example of that. It's also very famous for how Chinese it is. The buildings around you see like these Chinese lanterns and stuff like that. And here, you see more of them. There's a bunch more. Not every shop has them, but I'd say most of them do in some way or another. And this is like a really famous mural. I guess this is one of the most famous examples of street art here in Penang. You see it on all kinds of different souvenirs and shirts and all kinds of stuff. And it's like two Chinese Malaysian kids on a bike. Yeah, here's another example of street art. And you see the kids that are being depicted are very Malaysian Chinese looking. So you see a lot of tourists taking pictures here. So yeah, that's what it is. Here are more of these bikes that you can rent with I think they're mostly being driven by Indian guys. And a lot of people that you see here are Malay, and you can see that if they're like less Chinese looking, a little bit more like Indonesian, Thai-ish. Their Malay are quite similar to those two groups. And there you have another example of street art of like two kids with their hands through the bars of some window, but they're clearly Malaysian Chinese kids. And all the restaurants here have like a Chinese writing and Chinese names, even if you see it in the English writing, Roman characters. This area really is majority Chinese, which usually Chinese people don't make up a majority in Malaysia, but they're a pretty sizable minority. In Thailand there's also quite a lot. In Indonesia it's more like 2%. So here's like the gate. Here you have a very old tree with a shrine built around it. So I suppose that the tree is religiously significant. Here you have some tea offerings and water, and then the incense. And you can clearly see there's Chinese because of the Chinese writing. And here, this is also Chinese, this little shrine. This one is very ornately colored. And then here's the entrance of Chu Jetty. And this is kind of like a big pier with buildings on it, but they're all like Chinese style buildings. It was established in the 19th century, and I believe a lot of these buildings are shops. Not sure if some of them are still houses. I think most of them used to be houses, but now because it's so touristy, I think most of them just turned into shops. Here you can buy like some different food and snacks and toys for kids. And here you have a bunch of these lanterns, which people are taking pictures of. Some Malays. This section doesn't have a house, but I think we are above water though. But you'd be walking through the mud if it wasn't for this wood. Okay, here you have another store with behind it, I believe, their house. And here you can buy some other drinks and snacks and ice cream. Cutting through here on motorbike. Okay, here another little store with cards, like Japanese stuff, I think. No, I'm not sure. Yeah, like anime stuff, I suppose. And more snacks, some of which Chinese, like a little shrine, I suppose. And then I think behind here is like a house of someone. Yeah, I think this is someone's home. This is like the main street. Here they sell a lot more toys and souvenirs. And here about that mural again. I think just a house. Yeah, here you see some of the water, but the mud. You can kind of see the mud because the water level isn't that high right now. And yeah, it's all built on like concrete pillars. It seems like they used to be wooden pillars, and then they set some concrete around them later on to make them stronger. Yeah, here you can walk to the back as well. This guy has other ice cream and a bunch of juices. The store has like an Indian guy working there. That one is a Chinese Malaysian guy. Here on this building you have like some street art. Also the people that depict it look very Chinese. Here you have some boats on the pier, docked. So this boat has like Chinese symbolism on it and also some Chinese writing. I think it might be to like ferry around tourists or something like that, I'm not sure. What do you have? Mochi?
Yeah, mochi.
Oh.
Yeah, you like mochi? You must try.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
This one Penang mochi.
What?
Penang.
Penang mochi.
Yeah.
Penang style.
Penang, you must try.
Okay.
Yeah, Penang
Let's see.
style.
Yeah.
Very good, mochi, very good.
Okay.
Yummy.
And you make them right here? And that's like the dough, right?
Yeah, sticky rice and the Penang.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's very yummy. This one.
Very yummy, this is mochi.
Yeah. But here
My
behind
house.
is your house, right? Okay. Yeah.
Mochi, my house, mochi.
And the red writing,
Tanjeti.
what is it for?
Every Chinese New Year,
New Year.
write this one.
Traditional.
Yeah.
Traditional Chinese. Okay.
Studies.
This one traditional food.
Traditional food
Yeah.
from Penang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Malaysia.
Malaysian Chinese.
Yeah.
Yes. Very
Very
nice.
good.
That one also
Mochi,
traditional.
mochi, very
How-
good.
Yeah, you look many people there.
Yeah, but when I went to China, they also have a lot of this
Yeah.
in China.
Also
Yeah.
from this one.
And also the lantern, of course. It's also very Chinese.
Same. All Chinese house.
You guys, do you speak Hokkien?
Okay.
Hokkien, Mandarin, and then English little bit, Malay, and the Cantonese, and the what else?
You
Teochew.
And here, most of the people speak Hokkien here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All Jackie speak
For the
Hokkien.
whole
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Have a nice day. So let me try this Malaysian Chinese mochi. They're like these really little dough balls with like peanut dribbles on them. Here, another souvenir store. Oh my god. Oh, it's good. It's better than I thought it would be. So it's like this rice flour dough with sugar and peanut around it, and it's very Malaysian Chinese. Typically from Penang here, this part of Malaysia, which is very culturally Chinese. And because we're here on an island, you have the water here, and a bunch of boats docked. Over there you see some other piers. Of the other side, that's like Butterworth, the mainland of Peninsula Malaysia. Okay, so here you have a shop with homemade traditional snacks And it's all like traditional Chinese stuff or like Malaysian Chinese stuff because you see the Chinese writing and then English, of course, for the tourists and also for the Malays and for the Indians because not everyone speaks or reads Chinese here. Is there something in particular that you recommend?
Dragon beard candy.
Dragon bread?
Yeah.
And that's very Malaysian Chinese?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
You have to eat now.
Otherwise they cool off. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dragon bread. Also very peanutty. How are they made? The outside is wheat?
Which inside with
Wheat.
peanuts. Yes.
Okay.
Just pull and wrap with peanuts.
Pretty interesting looking little alleyways. So now this little temple or shrine at the beginning is all lit up with lights. And so is like the gate in front of it with all the lanterns. The little lamps inside being lit up. Very beautiful. And here you see another one of these boats with all this Chinese writing on it and like a dragon. So this building has written on it that it's the Chinese Football Association of Penang. So here are two other ones of these little random shrines. Oh no, three, because this is the third one. And then here there's this little roof with another altar. So a lot of these are just houses. This is like a little shrine again, slightly larger shrine or temple. And here you can walk to Gym Jetty. I think this one has more houses though, not as many shops. You have a bigger parking area here because back in the day, of course, they didn't used to have cars, but now everyone that lives here will have a car, so there had to be room for that, so they made this concrete parking lot area. You do see like these areas with houses on stilts all over Southeast Asia, and that's, I guess, just because they used to have a lot of floods historically, and they probably still do. But if you build your house on stilts, then your house doesn't get flooded with the flood. And this is like a little fishing hut at the end of the pier. And here you have just some more docking area for extra boats. That's why there's no houses connected to it, so they can dock boats here. Here you do have a little boat docked. Here another Chinese shrine. I don't think this one is Buddhist, so it's probably like Taoist or something. And you have like a really big stick of incense being burned. And it has very strange, like kind of sulfur smell almost. Even though we are in the most Chinese part of Malaysia, here you have a very Malaysian restaurant with a lot of nasi lemak, which is like the most typically Malaysian dish. And then here's where like an Indian restaurant, I think it's mamak, yeah, mamak, which is a little bit like a mix of like Indian and Malaysian food, which makes it also just a Malaysian thing. The thing is, something being Malaysia Indian or Malaysian Chinese still makes it Malaysian. Here you have some stores where you can buy like offerings for the Hindu religion, like Indian stuff, and here different like flowers and stuff. So here in Penang you have like an Indian mosque, because part of the Indian residents here are also Muslim. Malaysia as a country, they have certain laws that favor certain groups of people, and it goes for the Malays a lot of the time. Like they get preferential treatment at being accepted into university and so on. Here you have a bunch of like Indian style clothes. This is kind of like the little India area of Penang. So here I have some char kway tao. It's like a Malaysian Chinese dish. Very Chinese dish, very famous. And you have these noodles. I don't know what they're called, but it's like that. Slightly sticky ones, I don't know. So I paid 10 ringgit for this. It's like $2. It's definitely rather spicy. It's very spicy. So you have the noodle, then you also have some chicken and bean sprouts, and then in here there's also some egg, and it has this certain sauce. It's typical for this dish. And this one is on like a small paper plate. It seems like they're all ganging up on this guy. I don't like this sales tactic, but it's okay. It's okay. Like if you have some people coming to you to like try and sell you stuff with those like signs, they kind of think like, oh yeah, this guy maybe wants to buy something, so we'll all gang up on it. So here, now I've arrived at the biggest Buddhist temple here, and it's like a big temple complex with a lot of different separate buildings. So here they have different candles burning as like offerings or something, religious ceremony. I think you can buy them somewhere probably. And then buying them also like helps donate to like the temple. And here these incense sticks. And then here you have the temple. Okay, so here below the building you have like this parking garage, which is only for like the people working here and like residents and stuff, and like a little shop. And then here you have this little pillar with little Buddhas inside of it. And there's like a little bit of glass in front of them, but except some where it's broken. And they have like a little light, so I presume it would light up at night. And then here you have another Buddha statue, a bunch of like monks surrounding it praying in front of the Buddha. So here you have some kind of notice, and it's both in English and then in Chinese, which I think they're simplified Chinese characters. It basically says that they can't afford to buy insurance, and that if you fall down here, they can't really give you any damage compensation or anything of that sort, just because they don't have the funds for that. Okay, so here you have a big Buddha, and I guess people don't take their shoes off in this one. This is like more of a Chinese depiction of him, and there's different depictions of him. This one is a little bit more heavy, let's say. Open place. And then I think in front of here will be a real temple where you like take off your shoes. You see more candles. Here you see some monks praying in front of the Buddha. So over here you can buy different statues for in your house to pray at home, but also different like just souvenirs of different kinds and like these fans. And you can also buy different snacks and bracelets, mostly souvenirs, but also some of the stuff is stuff that you can give as offerings of different kinds. And here's it's more like for kids, I guess. The profits they make here, they probably also go towards the temple. Okay, so interesting, here they have a bunch of tea, which I think is for the people from the temple themselves. And it's like the backside of this section. And then here there's some stuff for like cleaning and restoration. And here, this way there's a lift, an elevator to another statue that's more higher up. And here you can buy more stuff. It's all mostly very Chinese stuff. Some of it is like Thai or Malay and all of that, but most of it is very Chinese. But the people that you see visiting here, they are not all Chinese. A lot of them are also Indian or Malay. Here you have a statue of like a monk, I suppose, a famous monk or something like that. But it looks super real, like kind of scary real. So here they're waiting to go down, and here you can buy your ticket to go down. Damn, that's a massive statue. So that's the biggest statue in the entire temple. And here you have this beautiful dome on the inside, and all like this written Chinese, and swastikas at the entrance doors. Okay, so here this temple to the side, and you have another statue of also Buddha. And here you can buy like the different candles and like incense. Now she's closing the door because it's closing time. Here you have wishing ribbons, and there's different ones for different things. So you can get like the color of the thing that you find important. And you put some money in and you hang them up wherever. You have like the surrounding wall. I think it's more like decorative, because behind it is like the ground level over there. Here you have two monks, and there 2 deer, and here a turtle. Here you have like a little waterfall and a water stream. This building is for the cable cart, to enter the cable cart. Here the pond is completely filled with turtles. See them everywhere. And I guess you can feed them. Here like dresses and little statues. And then here you can buy like drinks and stuff. Okay, so now here I have another portion of char kei tao. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but this one is with prawns, which is how they're supposed to be. It's still very hot. But it's good. So the thing is, this is very typically Malaysian Chinese dish. You have some noodle and bean sprouts and onion. And then that with, in this case, prawns. And you can also get it with chicken. I got it with chicken the other time. Prawns is more typical for this dish. But this is a very Chinese thing. And that's why I'm eating it. Okay, so now here I'm at the Blue Mansion, which is like a Chinese mansion. It used to be of like some rich Chinese businessman or something like that. Here you have this beautiful, ornately decorated Chinese gate with like Chinese written on top of it. So this is the front of the mansion. Right now it's closed, so I can't go inside. And you see it's like very beautifully decorated. And it has all this like very culturally Chinese decoration all around. The outside is painted blue, that's why it's called the Blue Mansion. And also the gate has like the same kind of decoration. It's very typically Chinese, like the roof tiles, and like it's very colorful. Like the Indian stuff is as well, but just the depictions and stuff and the flowers and the patterns are very Chinese. Now inside you have a hotel, museum,
Restaurant.
and a restaurant. Yeah, but expensive, right?
Yeah, expensive. Yes.
Yeah, very expensive.
You must a restaurant. You must to reserve.
So Malaysia has been ruled by quite a number of different countries. In the beginning, the Dutch had set up some trading ports here, and the Portuguese as well. But most of Malaysia's colonial history, they were ruled by the British. And then during World War II, they got invaded by the Japanese. And from what I heard, they didn't put up that much of a fight, and they had some kind of agreement. But during that time, the Chinese here, they had probably the hardest time, because they were hunted down and murdered just for being Chinese. Because the Japanese, I suppose, had a bit of a grudge against the Chinese, and they were fighting in China and so on. But the Indians and the Malays didn't have that hard of a time. But a lot of the Chinese, they had to hide. And if that time hadn't gone like it did, there would have been a lot more Chinese here than there are today. Because the Chinese that are still around now are the ones that were able to hide from the Japanese. Here you have the Church of Assumption or something. It's quite a European style, a bit of a colonial style. Very beautiful though. And here you have banners with like different phrases on it and so on. Or I guess the same phrase over and over again. But it is in English, then in Chinese, and in also in Malaysian. And then also in Sanskrit. And for some reason, the kid on it with the Chinese one has a black, looks black. So here you have some very colonial architecture, also modernized a bit it seems. And this is the High Court of Penang. And then over there is like a similar kind of government related building. That's also why it's more in this colonial style. Igreja St. George. I don't know why it's like similar to the Portuguese. This is like a church, the Church of St. George. So it has like the big Roman columns, and it's very white, and that's part of the British colonial architecture of the city, mainly for like government buildings and stuff. So right now I'm in King Street, and here you see two examples of like very Chinese buildings, actually three, this one as well, and they have very ornate Chinese designs with like the very Chinese roof tiles and like the temple door, and many different decorations. So these buildings are different temples, and this is one temple, and then this building is another temple, and that's why they're so clearly Chinese in their design. And you see the different Chinese writing, but also the decoration and so on. Here you have these very beautiful 3D decorations, but the bottom part has all broken down, so you don't see that anymore, but you still see it at the top over there. And different paintings and so on the walls. And then over here you have a lot of different colonial architecture, some of which will be more of a Chinese style. Other buildings will be more of a British style or more of a French style. And there's different combinations of these different styles. Like here at the top, this is very Chinese, but then you have these columns that are much more British and maybe even French. And then over there, that building, I suppose, has much more of a British style. Also, this building, though it looks like it has a little bit of a mix of different styles, the name is a Chinese name, and it says it here in Chinese and then in Roman characters. And then at the top, it is engraved in the front of the building in Roman characters. So here you have a very large mosque, and right now you can hear the Muslim prayer. This is of course mainly a Malay mosque, but also for the Muslim Indians, and of course if there's any Chinese converts to Islam, they can go here as well. The majority of the people going here will be Malay, And sometimes you have specific Indian Muslim mosques with a lot more Sanskrit writing and so on. And it's not that they're not allowed to go to each other's mosque, but it's more like depending on the area, what group of people is more predominant there and who builds the mosque. I'm at a Buddhist temple right now during a Buddhist service in the morning.
In it, there is a conversation about a very human experience. Being sick. Everyone is sick.
自解苦难的方式。故事开头，佛陀让最智慧的弟子文殊菩萨。
意がなくてもいい。もともと特別な本人は。3, 2, 1. I saw the flowers fly on display. That shower of colors their
So that was the Buddhist service, and here you have like the Buddha statue. And now we can go upstairs, and they'll have like some food and drinks for people to like talk and stuff. But this like style of Buddhism is from Japan, and also because of that you have like big paintings on the wall like this from Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you wanna have water?
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Is this Chinese food?
No, this is the Penang food.
Penang food.
Penang food, right?
Penang Chinese food.
Right?
Penang Chinese food.
Penang Chinese food. Well, that works, right?
Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, I don't think so.
What that means? Person to speak.
Okay, so that is a monk. He's from Japan, and I think he's gonna sing again because they have. What do you have next week? What?
Opening ceremony.
Opening ceremony.
The temple.
And it's like once a year, or
No, it's because that we have moved the temple.
move to a new building.
New building.
Ah, yeah, because this is a very new building. Okay, interesting.
Yes.
This is like Malaysian Chinese food, like specifically from Penang, right?
Yeah. Chinese.
Yeah.
This one Chinese.
Okay. And you wanted me to try this?
Yes. That one is Malay, but it's very, very delicious.
Okay. Okay, so here we have the rice with yeah, I don't know, like soup, I guess. And here's like a dessert. And it's kind of like a little jelly like with beans inside, right? Is it like beans or like
Yes, it's like green bean.
green beans? Yeah, kind of soup. Okay, so and here you have like a little pancake and this coconut flakes, and then these little dough balls. I'm not sure what it's all called. No? I don't think so. But it's kind of like a jelly. See? Okay.
Nyonya.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So Nyonya actually is a Malay and Chinese.
Oh wait, I think I tried this before as well.
Pancake.
Because there's like stuff inside.
This one pancake.
Yeah.
This one nice. Corn.
Yeah, corn. Here we have some mooncakes.
This one flavor different. This one is durian flavor. This is another
Durian
Yeah.
flavor.
and black sesame.
Sweet.
Okay, well, let's try this one. It's either durian or like chocolate. I think they were saying durian. Yeah, it tastes like durian.
Cream puff.
Cream puffs, but it's a British thing from the British colonial influence, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's a bakery.
Oh,
Cream
okay.
puff. P-U-F-F. Cream
Oh.
puff.
Really, so many like cultures mixing together here. It's crazy.
Cream puff.
Yeah. So, closing up the temple. So I'm here in Penang, and we have some kind of Indian parade, some kind of like Hindu religious thing, and they have this little like kind of tractor car thingy. I'm not sure, And then they have this big thing on top of it, I don't know. And there's some people walking around it. Not that many people. It's probably like from a specific local temple or something. I mean, can you call it a parade if it's just one wagon?